Because the news just hasn't been weird enough lately. Yeah, Jeff Spicoli decided to play journalist for a few days, and he interviewed El Chapo. So what's there to say about this? Let's ask the party panel tonight. It's Joanna Zaczynski from Red Eye, also the co-host of the Greg Gutfeld Show. Yeah, she's co-host, she's correspondent, she does it all. Woo, hands and fingers. Also tonight, Michael Malice, author of Dear Reader. He's got some North Korean expertise. He will unleash on you tonight, even though they're not talking about North Korea. And Dagan McDowell is here from the Fox Business Network, host of the next Republican presidential debate. Welcome, everyone.
Hello.
Hey, hey, girl. So, Dagan, I will start with you. Sean Penn admitted in the first 14 paragraphs of the article that he is a tech dolt. He doesn't even know if they make laptops anymore. And maybe that's the reason it was so easy for Mexican and U.S. authorities to track him to El Chapo. Do you think the drug lord's going to have revenge?
We can hope, right? I hope he extracts revenge on Sean Penn. That's about as far into the article that I got, because I feel like any grown man, when writing an essay, and that's really what it was an essay.
Which means to try.
Who uses the word a buzz in the first couple of paragraphs. I was reading it thinking, you know, this is me trying to imitate Hunter Thompson when I was like 15. What he writes is the most hideous prose that I've ever read in my entire life. I couldn't even get to the point, and he can call himself a journalist. I don't have a problem with what he did, as much as he's not a journalist because he agreed, because as you were pointing out in the open, he agreed to give El Chapo final approval of the piece, which you absolutely did not do, and didn't take a pen or a recorder to the 7-hour interview.
No, he couldn't actually remember any of the quotes to the face-to-face interview, and then he gave El Chapo, you know, these softball questions for which there was no follow-up. He just sort of emailed him some questions and said, go ahead, go. But do you think that the FBI and Mexican authorities tracked him through his...
I think Sean Penn is like one of those dorky people who use Facebook to check in wherever they go on their trip, just so all their friends think that they're cool. My friend was just here visiting New York, and every Broadway show he checked in so everyone could see. And I'm sure that's what he did. That's why it was easy. So maybe he should get credit for, you know, bringing this warlord to justice.
Maybe. Maybe he should.
Because no way. That wasn't his intention.
No way? Did you read the article?
No.
This guy's learning disabled. Come on.
No, he is. He's not a smart person. I think I Am Sam is a much closer portrayal than...
I said earlier, somebody gave me a hard time about this. I was like, well, hey, at least he knows 2-syllable words. We know that about Sean Penn.
Or how to use a thesaurus, technically. You know, he just puts in, you know, something and something else comes out.
Should Sean Penn be punished?
Yes, for many reasons. But I don't understand how he wouldn't be. If you know someone is a criminal and is being pursued by law enforcement, how could you not then be like aiding them, you know, or hiding them, or whatever it might be? That too. I mean, I look forward to really learning more about the whole background behind this interview in the Netflix documentary.
I think he's got legal cover in that sense, but I think that the extra legal cover that he's going to need from El Chapo, I don't think, even as a rich fancy pants millionaire actor, I don't know that he's got that kind of security.
Yeah, he's like the Forrest
But I think they're going to find him in Haiti.
Yeah, when I said I didn't have a problem with him, I don't have a problem with a journalist pursuing somebody and doing an interview, somebody who's on the lam.
Yeah.
John Oliver went and interviewed Edward Snowden. Geraldo Rivera has interviewed...
Sacha Baron Cohen interviewed the head of the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Brigade. Last word, Matt.
Yeah, I was just going to say that Sean Penn's like the Forrest Gump when it comes to Mexican thugs. He'll just be there whenever someone's ready to throw someone else into a river full of piranhas.
It's so true. He's got such an arousal for these Latin American dictators. All right, well, speaking of which, Ted Cruz and Donald Trump neck and neck in Iowa just 3 weeks until the caucus. Days here before the huge FBN debate. A new Quinnipiac poll out has Trump at 31% and Cruz at 29% in the Hawkeye state. And as we get closer, Donald Trump continuing to hound Cruz on his eligibility as a presidential candidate. Cruz, born in Canada, he's the son of an American citizen. When asked if he thinks Cruz is a natural-born citizen, Trump says this.
I don't know. I really don't know. It depends. Does natural born mean born to the land, meaning born on the land? In that case, he's not. But nobody knows what it means.
It means being born in a cornfield. All right, so will this affect Iowa voters? What do you think? What does your gut tell you?
I I don't think so, because Cruz is doing so well in Iowa. I don't know that it will really sway opinion, but I do think that Trump is still going to win Iowa, only because there are people who are going to, there's a lot of first-time voters, and I think that they will come out and vote for Trump.
You actually bought a URL with this in mind.
Yes, I own Ted Cruz for PrimeMinister.com. It's available for sale. If he wants, he can go back to Canada where you came from, take Jennifer Graham home with you. And I was always raised, they taught me in school, if you weren't born in America, you can't be president, and I stand by that.
All right, well, you know, and I thought that this might be a trial balloon for a vice presidential candidate for Trump. But if he's making the case he can't be president, he can't be vice president either.
This shows that Donald Trump has turned into a brilliant politician. Maybe it was inside of him the entire time, but it's like quietly dropping the word Canada or Canuck and planting doubts in people's heads. He's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it could be dragging on in the courts for a really long time.
I'm not a lawyer, but all I would say is maybe if I were Ted, I would go in front of a judge and get a declaration.
It's your mom. Your mom planting seeds of doubt about the doof that you bring home, right?
Yeah. And
when you're just like, I don't know. I've seen him with a lot of girls.
Yeah, you know what? When I brought Ted Cruz home, my mom said,
cruising for a bruising king.
Yeah, that's right. You know I was. I like it that way. And don't forget to watch FBN's Republican presidential debate. It's this Thursday, January 14th. First debate at 6 p.m. Eastern with Sandra Smith and Trish Regan. Then at 9 p.m., we head to our moderators, Maria Bartiromo and Neil Cavuto, for the main event. Coming up, Netflix smash hit Making a Murderer left out some huge details in the case. We'll break that down in a few minutes. But first, the panel returns. Hillary's worst nightmare starting to play out in Iowa and New Hampshire, and possibly with the FBI. We have it all covered just for you, Bugaboo. Stay here.
Live Tuesday, the State of the Union, President Obama's final address, and vision for America's future. Neil Cavuto kicks off Can't Miss coverage at 8. Then after the speech, stay tuned. At 6, it's Trish Regan and Sandra Smith. Then at 9, it's Maria Bartiromo and Neil Cavuto. Watch our coverage or catch our live stream on foxbusiness.com.
Hi there, Hillary Clinton. We're just giggling because we're so happy to have you here, and we're making fun of what you're wearing. Hillary Clinton and Senator Bernie Sanders are neck and neck in Iowa and New Hampshire, less than a month before the first two contests for the Democratic nomination. The NBC Wall Street Journal Marist poll shows Hillary Clinton, she's at 48% to Bernie Sanders 45% in Iowa. Meanwhile, according to the only poll you need to know, the Fox News poll in New Hampshire, Sanders beating Hillary very comfortably, 50 to 37%. So what happens if Bernie actually wins these first two states? Let's ask the party panel. They are experts. We've got Joanna Zaczynski, Michael Malice, and Dagan McDowell. So how close are Bernie and Hillary Clinton?
The last time we had a couple of old white people this close, they called it cocoon. Here's the thing. Obama was ahead of Hillary Clinton in New Hampshire in 08, and she went on to win. All of this doesn't matter because the establishment's going to go all out to make sure she gets the nomination. The thing to look out for are two things. Is the FBI going to indict her or her people? And all this collapse in her polls is solely due to Trump humiliating her and Bill in the press. This has nothing to do with Sanders and his operation.
Interesting. Now, in just a little bit, we're going to talk to an attorney about the FBI troubles that she has looming, because there is now a new fork in the road. I want to ask about Bernie, because when Bernie Sanders seems like a good alternative, I think your candidate is host.
I don't know. I do think that definitely what's going on in the media with what Trump is doing, his attacks on her, her stamina, things like that, are maybe affecting her, or just Bernie Sanders people are just more vocal at the moment. There's more push behind him. However, she is still a woman, and he is a white male socialist, and a woman is more progressive and will get the nomination, in my opinion.
And when people have been polled, Democrats, they say that 56% of Bernie supporters, they say, yeah, well, we'll support Hillary, where 79% of her supporters are like, oh yeah, we'll support Bernie if he's the nominee, which can be pretty bad news. But what happens if Bernie wins both the early states?
It's going to put a stink on her campaign, just like it happened back in 2008. And I think that they are deathly afraid of that happening. But I just can't separate, like, because in Cocoon, they were actually getting it on. So now I'm like, because there's very little daylight between Sanders and Clinton.
Crazy.
Hillary Clinton, when asked what the difference between a socialist and a Democrat was,
Well, I mean,
that was her answer.
Thing. Well, I mean, I'm not a socialist, but I'll tell you what I am. I'm a lady with lady parts and lady feelings, and I feel that ladies should turn out to vote for me.
Yeah, I like Hillary Clinton being from the San Fernando Valley. That makes me, maybe, you know, let's draw some votes. Maybe Kardashian Clinton, I don't know. Start saying Clinton with a K separates her from Bill, makes her more like Kim and
Chloe and Courtney and Chlamydia, like all the Kardashians.
I like where this is going. This is going to sweep her all the way to the White House.
No, but isn't it good to have close races in both parties?
No, we don't have close races in the Republican Party. That's a complete myth. Trump has 40%. The next 4 people combined don't have 40%. He's going to blow them out of the water, and just all the people in the press are freaking out about it. And I don't think it's close on the Democratic side either.
I think it's closer in the first couple of contests in the on the Republican side.
Correct.
I think Ted Cruz, if he plays it right, could actually use momentum. It's going to take a lot of work for him. It's certainly not a foregone conclusion that Trump is going to implode, and it remains to be seen. Like, either he's got an entire silent majority, he's got like 80% of Republican voters who are going to vote for him, or there's a good chance that he speaks.
But the establishment hates Cruz more than they hate Trump, I think. I think they'd rather cut their losses with Trump than have to deal with Cruz, who everyone in the Senate hates on a personal level.
Yeah, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, I'll say it right now. Everyone who knows Ted Cruz dislikes Ted Cruz. I don't know why that is. I've never met the guy. Would I let him babysit my cat?
But everyone who knows,
because I'd never own a cat.
And everyone who knows Trump likes Trump. Trump has a very good reputation on a personal level.
And you know who else has a good reputation? My party panel. And they are returning to talk about billionaire Michael Bloomberg and whether or not he should run for president as an independent. We'll talk about how that bombshell could change everything. But first, the FBI expanding its investigation of Hillary Clinton beyond her personal server. Find out what has piqued their interest and could it stick? We'll discuss next. It's a really good Smith's cover, and I'm glad you enjoyed it with me. Let's dance together, shall we? Donald Trump is dredging up Bill Clinton's sexcapades still in his presidential campaign, and he's painting out Hillary Clinton as a sexist in the process. Here's Trump on Fox News Sunday.
She's not a victim. She was an enabler. She
was an enabler?
She worked with him. I mean, some of the women have been totally destroyed. Some of these women have been destroyed, and Hillary worked with him.
Baby, I believe that. Power hungry from decades back. Well, here's what Hillary Clinton has to say about the Donald. Gets very fiery.
Well, if he wants to engage in personal attacks from the past, that's his prerogative, you know, so be it. They can say whatever they want, right. More power to them. I think it's a dead-end, blind alley for them, but let them go.
It's a dead-end blind alley because I say so. My panel is back because I say so. They'll get a paddling. It's Joanne Nowzachinsky, Michael Malice, and Dagan McDowell. Dagan, I will start with you. Who wins in this enabler versus victim war?
He is taking a little bit further, and it could be fairly effective because he is making her culpable and guilty as part of the treatment of women by Bill Clinton. I still think that if she plays her cards right, she comes across like the victim, like I stuck by Bill, and I'm not sure that it's gonna win him, gonna hurt her in the way that Trump probably hopes.
Well, I don't know. I actually agree with you there. And the thing that is always curious, Michael, that you have pointed out, is that Hillary Clinton uses this mind trick. Someone call it the Jedi mind trick, where she tells people when a story is done and it's time to move on, like, that's old, it doesn't work, it's old hat, he can finish with that now.
The idea that Hillary is a Jedi is really kind of obscene.
She's a Sith.
She's a Sith, but...
Oh, no, she's not. I'm a Sith. Don't even start with this. Hold on. She is a calamity, as I've been telling you for 2 years on this show.
Has she ever known the Force?
I'm not going to even touch that one with a 10-foot cigar. The point is this. For decades, the Clinton techniques have been to say, we talked about that already. The question has been settled.
Yeah.
MoveOn.org was founded on the very premise of let's move on. We're not going to talk about this anymore. And Trump, using Twitter, has bent the mainstream press to his will. And now you have ABC News asking Bill Clinton, what about these past allegations? And him not having an answer. And I'll just point out one more thing.
What does that say about this, though? What does that say about where we are versus the 90s with the Clintons.
That Clinton has always been overrated. He's never gotten a majority of the vote in either of his campaigns, and he couldn't drag his mummy of a wife across the finish line in 2008, and his political skills have not gotten better now.
That's absolutely right. Oh, girl, I know. It's getting a little chilly in here.
That imagery was amazing.
Is he making her a victim?
No, she has more control. She is the one in the relationship who has all of the control, even control over Trump, I think. And he recognizes that because people love Bill Clinton for the most part. But Trump is right when he says, if he's campaigning for you, he's fair game. And I think more people should bring up the fact that Bill has this sordid past. So it's not just a Trump and Hillary thing.
Well, they have a right to bring it up because he is her #1 surrogate, and also her reaction to it. And when she is making the war on women the centerpiece of her campaign and being a champion for women's rights, it's fair to ask,
and you have to support all women.
How did you respond to these women who were potentially victimized?
Yes. And also, it's been said...
And victimized by her.
It's been said that these are sexual stories. He was a perjurer. The issue is that he was a felon. He wasn't impeached because he had sex. He was impeached because he lied under oath, something the mainstream press likes to forget.
Oh, yes, they do. Well, you know who hasn't forgotten how much he wants to be president? It's former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg considering a presidential bid. He did that in 2008 as an independent. It appears he's warming to the idea for 2016, and last month he reportedly commissioned a poll to see how he would fare as a third-party candidate against Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. But interestingly, he did not release the results, Thagan. What do you think that says?
I look at Michael Bloomberg, and Jeb Bush is like Space Mountain compared to this guy in terms of the energy level and excitement. That he just doesn't. He was a great mayor, but a lot of people hated him for what he tried to do in terms of quality of life stuff, whether it was the salt and the eating and the giant sodas. He just doesn't have the personality to punch through.
No, he doesn't. And who would he hurt
I don't know
more,
what
Trump
that
or Clinton?
means.
I know exactly what it means, and I love it.
I'm really not sure. Maybe Clinton because of his more progressive, like social views. Yeah. But do we really need another rich white man? I don't think so.
Oh, baby, I can never have enough rich white men, but thank you very much for asking. Millions of American men have back hair, and they spend money to prune it. Although one man has turned his back shag into an asset, one man, studio Rich Collier, hit the streets to see what people think about back hair art.
A gentleman in Idaho just released a calendar of artwork that's been shaved into his back hair.
That's brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
Backpack made entirely of back hair.
If he's like owning the fact that he's got a cupid with an arrow on his back, that's sexy.
If I met a guy who knew the American flag shaved into his back, that's a deal breaker. Send him back to the happy home.
How do you feel about body hair on men?
I prefer not to feel it.
I like body hair on men.
I like it a lot.
Young people are spending a lot of money and a lot of time removing their body hair.
Total waste of time and money. Look at me. I mean, come on. Who cares? Hell yes.
Single hairy guys, there's a reason you're single. Get waxed.
Wax on, wax off.
Men, stay men. You don't need to look like little boys. Hair is okay on your body.
All right, so Dagan, I will ask you, you've always said you haven't lived until you've had back hair stuck in your teeth. Do you care to elaborate?
Oh, you have not lived until you have dated somebody who has so much hair on their shoulders, it looks like epaulets on a jacket when they're at the beach. I would say I have scoured the earth and dated in my life the hairiest men walking on planet Earth.
On purpose?
No, I don't know what it is. Yeah. Maybe maybe my face says
you're
like
Wookiee
the hair suit. Yeah. Right. And you know what? Just own it if you got a lot of hair.
The question isn't, is it sexy? It's, oh my gosh, how sexy is this?
Yeah, and a man who appreciates art is very sexy.
That's right.
And that's what he's doing on his back. No, but really, you're not supposed to get rid of it all because the hormones are in your sweat.
Yes.
That's how people are attracted to each other. It's the scent. The male scent gets trapped in there.
So. No, except it can smell like nachos Bel Grande from Taco Bell if they don't bathe right.
I can hear you. I'm right here.
So, Michael, any comment? You're a hairy little fella.
1 month ago, I was part of a debate, and I got my hair cut like Ivan Drago to terrify my opponent, and my hair guy's away, and now it's evolved into Wolverine. So I'm not in a position to talk about anyone's hair.
Wolverine.
Well,
I have to
he
say,
should go back to Canada with Ted Cruz and Jennifer Granholm.
Yeah, but you know what? He'd be nice and warm because he has a human sweater of man hair. This is great. All right, dig in, Michael. And Jono, you guys, thank you so much for being here. You've just made my Monday dreams come true.